Hi everybody, welcome to Dandelion Cottage and Watercolor Wednesday. I'm Leslie Watkins. How are you today? I was going to paint a little watercolor for you today, but I got carried away with myself. and so I'm going to have to backtrack a minute and show you what I did. So first off, I banged my camera here. First off, I took a piece of the Fluid 100 watercolor paper and then I scored it into a box shape, and then I gave it a good spritzing and I painted it with some yellows and oranges and spattered it and got it nice and distressed. And then I let it dry, and this is what I ended up with. So there's my box shape, and this is just a little simple hinged box, and I think you can see the spattering on there. So very simple. I just spritzed it and spattered it and painted it to get some sort of a abstract background. And now what I want to do is to use it as a base for some die cuts. So I used the Honeybee Home bundle, and in here the dies I used were the two little floral motifs, which are extremely delicate and very beautiful. They just look like some wonderful filigree. But then I wanted something special for the top of the box, and I wanted to keep it in the bee theme. And so what I did was I went back into the archives. I don't know how many of you remember this set, the Honeybee set. I can't remember if it was in the main catalog or if it was just I think the paper was a celebration item. And this was a bundle that was in the main catalog, and this goes back a couple of years ago. But in this set, in the dies, you get this wonderful big bee die. So I used that one to cut out a bee for my lid. And I'm also kind of eyeballing this wonderful honeycomb die. I think I'm going to use that in my to decorate something else. So I'm kind of excited to have rediscovered that. So what I want to do is I want to add a little more depth and distress around the edges of my box. So I've got a couple of different ink pads. I'm not sure how dark I want to go, but I'm going to start with Crumb Cake, and I've got my soft suede handy. And then I've also got some warmer colors. I've got the Bumblebee, probably not going to be using the So Saffron, but maybe this, I'm not sure. There goes the So Saffron. Okay. So I'm just going to begin with my sponge. Hi, Carol, Kelly, Beverly. How's everybody today? Oh, Kelly still has that bee bundle. It's a really nice one, isn't it? I'm thinking it would be really fun to do incorporate some old and new things into the projects, because I know I'm not the only one that hangs on to the sets that I really love, and I don't get a chance to use them as much as I should, because there's always so much new and exciting things coming out. But often they will go together very nicely. You know, a little something old, something new. So that might be something I spend a little more time doing in the future. So I'm just going around the fold lines and getting these edges a little darker. This is working pretty well. I like the crumb cake. What's everybody been doing? I've been working on some projects. It's snowing here again. Yesterday I was noticing all the snowdrops coming up, the little beautiful white snowdrop flowers looking lovely and cheerful. And now today they're covered up again with a blanket of snow. And it's still snowing, so I'm not sure how many inches we're going to get, but it doesn't look like it's going to be stopping anytime soon. But that's March, and like a lion, out like a lamb. Alright, I'm just about done here. I think I missed this edge. There we go. Alright, so there's how it's looking right now. Just want to knock back the color a little bit. I don't want it to be too bright. I just want this to make a nice background for the gold foil pieces. I may have to assemble this first and give this another going over before it's completely done. But I didn't want to assemble it until I had applied the gold because I wanted to be able to give it a good burnishing. Okay, so we'll put this aside for the minute. And I'll show you the pieces I have. So here's this beautiful one. I don't know if you can see them so well. Let me get a piece of paper. Okay, so there are my pieces. Very pretty, very, very delicate, as you can see. And I just thought that they would make such a pretty, springy looking bee design. So delicate and detailed. And by the way, the lid of this box measures 3 by 2. And you can see that this die cut of the big bee is pretty large. It's almost, I'd say, about 2.5 inches wide. So that's gonna fill that top nicely. So I'm gonna get out my multi-purpose liquid glue. And where is my glue pad? Here it is. Here's something I don't get out very often, but I think this would be a good chance to use it today. This is the silicone craft sheet, and this is just a nice surface to glue on so that you can rub away any excess without making too big of a mess. So fingers crossed I won't make too big of a mess. Let's see how I do today. You know what? I'm switching to the fine tip glue. So here is the fine tip glue pen, and it comes in a bottle like this. It's got this long nozzle that you just unscrew, and there's a needle in there that goes into the spout of the glue to help keep it clear. Now, if my head gets in the way, my apologies, but I'm very nearsighted, and this is very tiny work here. I'm just dotting that around. Making sure that all the little legs and excuse me, antenna have a little dot of glue on them. And because it is a box and it will be handled, it's important to make sure that you've got good adhesion. And get that back in there. Get in. There we go. Okay, my tissue, my tweezers. Give that a little blot. Make sure I have my top of my box facing the right way and that you can see what I'm doing. It looks really pretty. Make sure that's on there straight. Okay. So there's the main attraction there. I'm going to take my bone folder, give that a good burnishing. Okay, I'm very happy with that. Now the flower sprig has a natural kind of bend. So I'm going to use this one just above the thumb hole, and I'm going to have to trim that a tiny bit. I'm just going to look to see where I want to trim that. So I think I'll go right along here, and I'll save this little piece because this could be handy for something. I don't know if you can hear the blue jays, but the flocks of robins have been flying in from points south, and they're eating all the dried crab apples. I have this crab apple tree that has these very tiny little crab apples that persist over the winter, which is wonderful food for these migrating birds in the late winter, early spring, and they remember, they come back every year, and so they've been around for a couple of weeks now, and also the red-winged blackbirds. I think they must migrate a little bit too, because all of a sudden I'm seeing flocks of them around the pond. So exciting stuff going on outside while the days get longer and the earth warms up. Okay, I'm going to get that right on there like so.